All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being here at the commission this morning. This is our committee day, and we'll get started with committees, starting first with Facilities Protection Committee.
Facilities Protection will come to order, and we'll hear from C1, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Item C1, consideration of commission approval of signed consent agreements and resolution of the following GUPA violations, letters A through D.
Anyone have any questions or comments on C1? Hearing none, we'll move to C2, please.
C2, consideration of staff recommendation to issue a 46-291 Rule 95 for failing to address a commission order in the following GUPA cases, letters A through D.
Questions or comments on C2? C2 will be moved forward. Nothing else on no regular agenda on facility protection, so therefore we adjourn. And there are no items on telecom, so we won't even call the order telecom.
All righty. Thank you, Commissioner McDonald. We'll move on to Energy Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll bring the Energy Committee to order. We have one item on the proposed consent agenda and two on the regular agenda. C1, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. C1 is consideration of request for transfer of retail electric service by the following customers presented in line items A through C. Supporting documents have been reviewed and are in order. Staff recommends approval.
Questions, concerns on C1? All right, C1 is on. Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
R1, please.
Good morning. R1 is docket number 55952. Georgia Power Company's 2025 CARES utility scale renewable request for proposals. On June 20th, 2025, Georgia Power Company filed the final drafts of Georgia Power Company's 2025 CARES utility scale renewable request for proposals, pro forma energy only, energy with storage, and carbon-free energy around the clock power purchase agreements, and bill transfer agreement for commission approval. These documents were amended on June 25th, 2025 to incorporate the use of on-demand performance bonds as an additional form of acceptable eligible collateral for upgrade security. As approved by the commission in its order adopting stipulation of docket number 44160, the 2022 IRP final order regarding Georgia Power's 2022 Integrated Resource Plan, Georgia Power will procure up to 2,100 megawatts of utility scale renewable resources, including up to 650 megawatts of around-the-clock carbon-free energy from carbon-free resources that leverage renewable resources with battery storage systems. Georgia Power rolled forward 1,250 megawatts left unfulfilled from previous procurements for a CARES procurement target of 3,350 megawatts. On June 5th, 2025, Georgia Power filed for the certification of renewable energy from 1,068 megawatts of utility scale renewable resources from the CARES 2023 RFP. The company is continuing to evaluate additional bids, which were moved from the reserved list to the short list that may be in the best interest of all customers to pursue and could add to the total megawatts procured from the CARES 2023 RFP. The CARES 2025 RFP seeks to procure renewable energy from approximately 2,000 megawatts of utility scale renewable resources with the earliest in service dates of 2028, which includes up to 650 megawatts of renewable energy from carbon-free energy around the clock resources. On April 15, 2025, draft documents were posted to the IE website to allow potential bidders the opportunity to submit comments and offer revisions to the documents. By the conclusion of the comment period, a total of 386 comments, 73 on the RFP and 313 on the proposed performance agreements by 14 different commenters were received regarding the draft documents. Each of the comments received were reviewed by staff, Georgia Power, and the independent evaluator, and responses to the comments were provided to the commenters by the IE on June 25th, 2025. Through this. In your backup, you will find the proposed schedule. Anticipated commission approval of these documents is Tuesday, June 1st, which would be also the date the RFP is released via the IE website. Bids will be due by Friday, August 1st, 2025. Staff recommendation. Staff has worked with Georgia Power and the independent evaluator throughout the process in developing these final draft documents, which were filed on June 20th, 2025 and amended on June 25th, 2025. Staff has reviewed the comments that were received on the IE website concerning the draft documents, the company's proposed responses, and Georgia Power subsequent modifications to these draft documents. Staff believes such modifications to the RFP and PPA documents are fair and appropriate. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the final draft documents, which were amended on June 25th, 2025.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Yeah,
Ms. Barber, and do you have off the top of your head, once we get through 28 with those items that are in the mix, through 2028, what position will that put us in renewable energy in the mix of,
Are you saying,
if, when that comes to fruition?
I do not know. Are you talking about position in the country
Right.
or how many
No,
gigawatts?
in our portfolio.
I don't have that off the top of my head. I can get that for
What would
you.
be, how many new megawatts over the next 3 years do we have coming in with the RFP and what's already?
Well, the RP hasn't been decided yet, but that's up to 4 gigawatts. So we have 2 here. And then we have 1 gigawatt that's up for commission approval through the certification. So 7 gigawatts additional.
Anything else, Commissioner? Does anybody else wish to speak to this item? Mr. Carter.
Brad Carver on behalf of the Advanced Power Alliance. Advanced Power Alliance would like to take the opportunity to thank staff and the commission and Georgia Power as we continue to improve our competitive bid process here. And we appreciate how through the IE, a lot of the recommendations were changed. We simply want to make a comment about our national policy and kind of waiting to see where things are going in light of recent international activity and the NATO summit. It's certainly looking more favorable that the big beautiful bill will be passed by Independence Day, but we don't have that assurance yet. And the status of that appropriation is a significant factor in the bid process here. So we have polled our members, and we think it would be beneficial because right now with the 2025 RFP, the bids would be due August 1st. And we think that if we delayed that by even 2 weeks, that could give us an opportunity to have even more certainty with the bids, which could lead to a better overall evaluation process, and frankly would be better for the ratepayers. We'd simply put that out there as a possibility. We certainly do not want to delay the time frame overall. We think it's important to get these resources to the market. There is a huge amount of demand for this power, but we do think that to have the most intelligent bid process and to allow for the most competitive proposals to come forward, that information is very crucial. And we'll know that answer here very soon. And a slight delay may give y'all a more effective bid process. Thank you.
Mr. Carver, I mean, just cut to the chase. You're asking us to hold this for a second.
Well, I'm asking you, if you hold it, then, I think the August 1st would still be when the bids are due. We're saying that if you made the bids due August 15th, that could give us a better opportunity to have more information from what's happening with our in Washington, and that would lead to better bids and lower bid prices for the consumers.
Carver, have you met with Georgia Power about this issue?
I have brought it up to their council, yes.
Thanks.
I'm sure we'll be hearing from them in just a moment. Thank
Mr. Carver,
Yeah.
Mr. Carver, hi. So I hear what you're saying. The House version of the One Big Beautiful Bill has the solar ITCs and PTCs extending through post the Trump presidency. I believe that they're through 2035. And the Senate is looking at changes or even extending that. I think this just goes down to the challenges that we have when the federal government gets involved with these tax credit items that keep us as states from being able to procure the necessary generation that we need on the schedule at which we need it. I understand that this could impact some of the bids, but at the end of the day, we operate an avoided cost system, and that avoided cost is getting more and more challenging for your members to be able to meet. Have you polled your members to see how many of them think that they could come in below avoided cost without ITCs and PTCs from the feds?
Well, so yeah, I mean, you're right. We've had some challenging circumstances, tariff policy, uncertainty, procurement issues, these types of things. But just, this is a best cost evaluation. And of course, being below avoided costs is a crucial factor. But these folks have historically come in below avoided cost, and what we're seeking here is, for the benefit of Georgia, we want to take advantage of these tax credits the best extent possible. And so, we're just trying to, I think it provides for more information in a competitive bid process. And I think it would be helpful to the market. Understand exactly what you're saying. We're not asking for a lengthy period of time here. I just think it's probably better for all. And we have talked to our members, and they're all think that that's a reasonable ask to just wait a couple of weeks.
What are your members prepared to do if the ITCs and PTCs are stripped out by the Senate and the House in the final bill that goes to the president?
I don't foresee that happening. I mean, they're kept in there from
If
the
you
House.
know that, Mr. Carver, you're the smartest man on 244 Washington
I
Street.
don't know that. I don't know that, but that's not the way it is in the House version. That's not the way it is in the Senate version. There's going to be a lot of give and take between the House and Senate. We know that, and this is just one piece of a very large bill. But I have reasonable confidence they're going to come in. There's enough support in the House and Senate to do this. So I'm optimistic. And
But what if Senate Energy Chairman Mike Lee gets his way and they're stripped? What are they going to do? What are your members going to do?
Then we will have that information and we will bid accordingly.
Thank
But
you.
I think it's better for the process for us to have that information before these bids are submitted.
I hear what you're saying. I guess my challenge is as we know, things are changing and moving very rapidly. And they may change or they may not change, or we may get a different change that comes up 2 weeks from now. But yet here we are as a state with a plan in place to do procurement, and we need the capacity. And we've got it slated for, your members. So, but I hear you. I hear you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Commissioner McDonald, did you have something else? No, you're good. Okay, thank you, Mr. Carver.
Thank you.
And I believe I have before. One sit down. Ms. Kelly on Zoom that wishes to speak to this item.
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
Mr. Chairman and members of the commission, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for the considerations and the changes thus far on the Georgia Power pro forma PPA. I think they were very welcomed, and we appreciate being able to see Georgia Power and the commission coming together to find a workable PPA that developers can get financed and ultimately build projects and be able to deliver the capacity that Georgia Power needs in the state. The request here today, and I did on behalf of myself and the company from EDPR North America, sent comments. And with relation to the final or the final draft PPA for the Georgia Power RFP, on Friday, June 20th, requesting that Georgia Power please look at the pre-COD limitation on liability for developers in the contracts. The way that the contract is written in the revised draft is that there is not a clear pre-COD limitation of liability, meaning that if there is a problem in the development of the project and the project is not ultimately able to be built, that there is a known amount that is for the developers to understand what the exit opportunity and cost is. I think that this is understandable. This is something that is in other markets as well. In addition, Georgia Power's liability is capped throughout the term of the agreement. So pre-COD for Georgia Power, 2.5% of the total projected revenue is Georgia Power's cap. And then post-COD, Georgia Power's cap is 5% of the total projected revenue. So simply asking for that ability to be reciprocal between the developer and also Georgia Power. Understanding that the amounts would be different, and I'm not asking for the amounts to be the same, but that pre-COD liability to be clearly capped. I think this goes along the lines of the difficulty of the upgrade security that's required if the project is determined by Georgia Power to have additional upgrades to deliver the project that's outside of the LGIA. So that's something that will be known upon execution, as well as possibly 6 months after the PPA is signed. So, I mean, that in addition to the amounts of the security would be replenished throughout the term in the pre-COD liability. So that is, I mean, that is the major ask from EDPR.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, would it be possible for Jamie Barber to speak to that?
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yes, this was an issue that was filed as a comment, and staff discussed this issue with Georgia Power about revising the comments. And I'm sure that the response that we got back was that the PPA does, I guess, address what the bidder's liability is pre-COD. Now, specifically what Ms. Snyder is asking for about capping Georgia Power's exposure, I'm not as familiar with that issue.
And Georgia Power, sorry, Mrs. Barber, the Georgia Power secure pre-COD limitation of liability is capped. So, I mean, I'm just asking for a reciprocal provision for the developer.
And I think some of Ms. Snyder's concerns is related to the upgrade security being part of the interconnection agreement instead of the PPA. And obviously, those costs are related to the delivery of the energy. And so staff agrees with the company that the upgrade security should be part of the PPA, not interconnection agreement.
Understood. Thank you, Ms. Barber. I appreciate that.
Thanks. Good morning, Commissioners. Allison Pryor on behalf of Georgia Power Company. Georgia Power supports staff's recommendation that the Commission approve the CARES 2025 RFP documents as filed. As the Commission is well aware, Georgia Power has received a substantial amount of feedback from the market on the criteria, metrics, and terms and conditions for participation in the company's renewable RFPs. Company has implemented a considerable number of changes based on this market feedback. Key changes include the company's commitment to a timely evaluation, less stringent storage performance metrics, alternative collateral options for different security obligations, and a reduction to the liquidated damages amounts in the contracts. That said, Georgia Power has also held firm on other issues where it makes sense for operational reasons or to protect customers from additional risk, and has therefore declined to reduce the performance security metrics, further reduce storage performance metrics, and expand the use of surety bonds. Commission staff and the IE are supportive of the company's approach in this regard. Each additional request to modify the RFP documents further to make them more seller-friendly is a request to reduce the cost and risk to the developer and transfer that to the company and customers. Georgia Power's RFPs evolve with every iteration. The CARES 2025 RFP documents before you now strike the appropriate balance to the market to participate while also protecting customers to ensure they get the benefit of the bargain that they're paying for. To respond to the recommendations that you heard previously from Mr. Carver, Georgia Power does not prefer to delay the schedule. We are on the clock with getting this RFP underway, bids submitted, evaluated, and a short list identified. Any delay contributes to the backlog and bottleneck of resource evaluations on the system. Georgia Power is regularly criticized for not moving fast enough. Therefore, a delay is not preferred. That said, 2 weeks is not the end of the world and could be accommodated if the Commission so approved. Any additional delay beyond that would risk and jeopardize the RFP schedule as currently proposed. In response to Ms. Snyder's comments, the additional requests made by EDPR are a bridge too far and would inappropriately shift risk and cost to Georgia Power customers for the benefit of developers. The company just filed certification for the CARES 2023 RFP, 5 PPAs with 5 different bidders, all of whom were comfortable with the terms and conditions of the contracts, of which the ones we're asking for approval now are even more seller-friendly than the ones that were just executed. They felt that those costs and risks borne between sellers and Georgia Power were appropriately balanced. And just because EDPR doesn't feel that they are here should be given no weight. The company's ability to execute 5 PPAs and move forward for certification in the CARES 23 docket evidences that many RFP participants are still okay with the requirements that Georgia Power asks of RFP participants in its solicitations. If the company gets a smaller than expected response to the RFP, that in itself is a signal of potential additional changes that may be needed. We don't know that yet. The company has made substantial progress forward to meet developers, respond to market feedback, and the RFP documents before the Commission today strike that appropriate balance. Additional changes are not needed. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Mr. Chairman, I'll go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
You're saying that the only developer that has this same concern is the one that's speaking today out of all the comments?
Not necessarily. So when Georgia Power receives the comments through the RFP process, it is bidder agnostic, meaning we don't get to see who submitted those comments or feedback. A lot of the comments are duplicative across the RFP documents and the PPAs. So to that point, I can't comment on that exactly because I don't have that information. That said, a lot of what Ms. Snyder was asking for has been addressed or mitigated already in the document. What they're asking for is just the company to go further.
Mr. Pridemore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Ms. Pryor, I would only assume that you've caught the news over the last several days over this week, and we've seen the high temperatures move across the Midwest, North Atlantic states, as well as into the Southeast. And, you know, you may or may not be aware that PJM, they have exceeded scheduled capacity for the last 3 days in a row with a maximum generation alert all week. Less than 5% of the PJM regional transmission operator territory is renewables. It's less than 5%. That's in their total system. So all full-time generation assets have got to be performing and working and generating to produce enough energy just to keep energy flowing within that RTO. MISO is under an Energy Emergency Alert 1, an EEA 1, and an EEA 1 bypasses the 202C allowance that Secretary Wright can deploy to tell generators that they have to generate energy just to keep energy flowing and power flowing within those areas. We're seeing this national crunch for the need of energy. And here we are in the Southeast, in Georgia in particular, leading the country in renewables, leading the country in solar deployment with battery storage, even outpacing some of the states that have preceded us in solar deployments. Isn't it fair to say that if these developers live by the federal subsidies, they also got to die by the federal subsidies? And that we should be in a position as the state of Georgia to demand that Georgia Power go through with the processes established by this commission so that we can continue to generate the necessary energy that we need as a state.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
One final note, just to answer Commissioner McDonald's question before I sat down. You asked about how many megawatts of solar would be on the system if this was approved, based off of the amount of utility scale renewable resources on the system today, what was approved in the 22 IRP, and if what was requested in the 25 IRP gets approved, there'll be approximately 10 gigawatts by 2035.
Come a long ways, then.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak to this item? All righty, R1 is on. R2. R2 is on the, oh. Morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Yes, okay. R2 docket number 44280 is Georgia Power Company's 2022 rate case. On September 19th, 2025, Georgia Power Company and Public Interest Advocacy staff filed a joint petition to extend the company's alternative rate plan. The hearing in this proceeding follows the committee meetings today. Therefore, this item serves as a placeholder for the Tuesday, July 1st, 2025 administrative session, by which time advisory staff's recommendation to the commissioners will have been provided.
Right, I think we're gonna get into a full-blown hearing, so we'll keep that as a placeholder and we'll put it on. Anybody else have anything for this committee? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Mr. Chairman.
All right, we'll move on to administrative affairs.
Good morning, Commissioners. Item 1A, request approval for out-of-state travel for 2 pipeline safety unit staff members to attend the inspector training and qualification division safety evaluation of distribution integrity management programs course in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, July 8th to the 10th, 2025. This is a mandatory course for pipeline safety's enhanced training as necessary to maintain federal funding. The total estimated cost of $3,290 will be principally federally funded through the pipeline safety reimbursement to be charged to Unit 6.
Any questions on A? All right, it's on B.
Item B, request approval for out-of-state travel for 2 pipeline safety unit staff members to attend the PHMSA Inspector Training and Qualifications Gas Pressure Regulation Overpressure Protection course in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, August 4th through the 7th, 2025. This is a mandatory course for pipeline safety's enhanced trainings necessary to maintain federal funding. Total estimated cost of $4,190 will be principally federally funded through the pipeline safety reimbursement to be charged to Unit 6.
Questions on B? All right, it's on C.
C, request approval for out-of-state travel for one pipeline safety unit staff member to attend the PHMSA Pipeline Failure Investigation Techniques course in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, August 18th through August 22nd, 2025. This also is a mandatory course for enhanced trainings necessary to maintain federal funding. The total estimated cost of $2,320 will be principally federally funded through the pipeline safety reimbursement to be charged to Unit 6.
Any questions? Okay, go ahead.
Item D, request approval for out-of-state travel for another one pipeline safety unit staff member to attend the PHMSA Corrosion Control of Pipeline Systems course in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, September 22nd through September 26th, 2025. It's also a mandatory course for enhanced trainings necessary to maintain federal funding. The total estimated cost of $2,320 will be principally federally funded through the pipeline safety reimbursement to be charged to Unit 6.
Any questions?
These are at the same time, is that correct?
Yeah, they're different dates, but yes, sir, different courses.
In other words, they won't be there at the same time.
No, sir.
I was just looking at the car rental aspect of it.
No, sir, no, sir. They'll be going on different days.
All right, any questions? All right, thank you, Reese.
Yes, sir.
That concludes today's committees. At this point, we do open the floor for public witnesses, but I will remind you, we will also have an opportunity for public comments when we start the actual hearing on the rate hearing, just in a few minutes. So was there anyone that had public comments that did not apply to the rate hearing today that wanted to have the floor? All right, well, thank y'all. We're gonna take, it's 10, we're gonna take about a 10-minute break, and we'll get started around 10:10 with the rate hearing. So thank y'all. Yes, sir. Do you have something? Morning.
Good morning. My name is Gordon Kenna. I am the Special Projects Coordinator assigned to the Public Works Department at DeKalb County. Thank you for the opportunity to make a comment.
Sure.
I wanted to speak a little bit to the Make Ready program that Georgia Power has offered to DeKalb County and to other large customers. While I represent DeKalb County, I should also make clear that while DeKalb is a member of the municipal coalition and we totally support the coalition's goals, I'm limiting my remarks this morning to the Make Ready program and the implications of that for DeKalb County, principally the value of that program to DeKalb County. This program has enabled DeKalb to advance our EV fleet by covering the cost of transformer upgrades, buried infrastructure, switchgear, and so forth. The county simply would not be able to afford to implement an electric vehicle program without the Make Ready program offered by Georgia Power and the Public Service Commission. So I want to thank you for doing so. Under this initiative, DeKalb has already installed about 200 level 2 EV chargers at 4 different locations. We're in advanced planning for an additional 75 chargers in downtown Decatur. That'll be in our garage where we require our jurors to park for jury duty, our public to go for public meetings, and other users, public users in downtown Decatur, which has among the highest parking demand in DeKalb County. So very important for us that we're able to offer that both to our fleet users and to our citizens and representatives who attend public meetings. Our fleet users are principally watershed management, roads and drainage, and other vital service providers. Most of them park at these EV stations at night when demand is low and power costs are low. So it really supports their objectives at both the dedicated lots and the public lots. This transition to electric vehicles is a really important long-range investment. So DeKalb is particularly grateful to the Public Service Commission and Georgia Power for making that available. As I mentioned, we simply would not be able to make these investments without that support. Thank you very much to both of you. That pretty much concludes my remarks unless you have a question for me.
Any questions? All right, well, thank you for taking the time to be with us. We're gonna take a break and then we're gonna take a break until 10:15 and then we'll begin the hearing. So thank y'all.